Hello everyone. So I'm going to present you a project on which I'm working on at Dailymotion for 2 years. Before going deeply into details, who am I? I'm Stan Chollet. I'm working at Dailymotion for 2 years as a chapter lead. The primary objective of my team is to provide a robust geo-distributed platform to the whole company. And on daily basis, our team works on the core feature of that platform and to improve its performance, its scalability, and its consistency. So a little bit of story. As you may know, Dailymotion has been created more than 10 years ago. Technically, until 2 years ago, the majority of our code base was running on a big PHP monolith, which contained more than 800,000 lines of code. So a big code base. After being acquired by Vivendi, a French group, in 2015, we decided to revamp the whole company from the product to the technical stack. So we decided to revamp everything, the infrastructure, for multiple reasons, which I will not detail. We started a migration from our big PHP stack, hosted in one data center in Paris, to a geo-distributed stack built on top of a kind of microservice architecture. After the start of that migration, a lot of problems began. So, as I said previously, I present you Gazr. So why is Gazr? On a monolith stack with only one technology, it's pretty easy to know and to launch common tasks. Like if you want to launch unit test, it's pretty easy because the developers have to remember only one command line, one for the unit test, a second one for code style, etc. So it's pretty easy. It was the case for us on the left, as explained, on the old stack during 10 years. Our developers were very happy. But as you can imagine, it's not the same when you have to deal with a lot of technologies like Python, PHP, Lua, etc. A lot of technology. Sometimes it's the same language, but you can use other various libraries. So it's hard for the developers to remember all the different commands for each project. They encountered a lot of issues. How I can execute the test on that project? It's not the same command as my project, so I don't know everything. So our developers were really frustrated by the complexity brings by the new architecture, the new microservice architecture. In addition to the previous issues, we encounter other problems. It was really hard for us to maintain a lot of different CI pipeline in Jenkins, because currently we have more than 200 projects in GitHub. It was also hard to deal with many technologies directly in our laptop. in a daily basis, if you have to work on several projects, it was really a pain for us to work. And to finish, the onboarding process was different for each team, for each project. And we want to solve these issues. So how we solve this problematics? In fact, we noticed that we were doing the same thing regardless the technology used, like launching unit test, like checking the code style, the complexity of our code. So we decided to write a specification which describe a list of common tasks, and to avoid dependency with too many libraries, we choose make as the launcher, and a container runtime, we choose Docker as the running environment. So by now, if you want to develop on our stack at Dailymotion, you just have to set up Docker on your laptop and remember a list of enough tasks to be ready to code. So it's pretty easy, and Gazr is just that slide is just that details. So how does it work? Make is used as an abstraction layer known by all our developers. Behind, so we consider that Docker is available on the developer laptop and also on the CI platform. And the last part is more specific. In fact, the project owner, so if you want to start a project, the project owner choose and describes the library he wants to use. So if he want, but I can say the project owner choose and describe the library he wants to use to solve common problematics like unit test, etc., and configure them to be executed through Docker, and it's done. So Gazr helps us on several topics, as I explained. It improves the way we switch between projects and technologies. It improves the onboarding process for newcomers. It was really important for us because we hired a lot of people in the previous months. And also, it was a solution to homogenize our pipeline on our CI platform. Also, it brings consistency between development and production environment. By now, when a bug is noticed on production, it's now easier for our developers to reproduce it on their laptop. So it's a solution to improve our velocity and also to get a short time between the time we notice a bug and we can resolve it. So by now, the developer experience in our teams at Dailymotion is better than before. They are less frustrated by the complexity brings by our new architecture. And they are now able to work on several projects without friction. So it's Gazr is really simple to understand, really simple to implement, but it can help you to improve the velocity of your teams, and also you directly, because if you are working on several technologies on your laptop, it's a simple way to switch between projects and technology. So currently at Dailymotion we have more than 10 teams who are working with Gazr, and we release this project as open source yesterday. So don't hesitate to give your feedbacks about it or your suggestion. We are open-minded, and maybe we can merge your suggestion. So if you want to know more about it, the URL is gazr.io. So thank you.
Thank you. Oh, there's a question over there already. Great.
I work at Chauffeur Privé, and we try to build such a tool to help developers have a toolbox during their development process. But I think that by adding a level of abstraction between the developer and the runtime environment, for instance, Python or Go, if it's not really well built, sometimes it can give the developer headaches because he has to understand how the tool works, and it can be really painful. So my question would be, is it like absolutely bug-free, and is it really providing a smooth experience to the developer? And how did you release it to the developer team? Because yes, we encountered this problem where the tool was not so great, and it was kind of painful to use.
In fact, this is not a tool. This is just a specification. So in fact, we just want to use the same task launcher to execute common task. For example, if you work on a Python 3 project and you are using, for example, PyTest for your unit test, maybe another team on your company can use another testing library, but you don't care about their library and how it is configured, etc. So in fact, we just want to put on top of that a specification, a common interface, and you just have to execute on your laptop, make test, and it will be the same for all your project, regardless the technology, if you are on Node.js or Python or PHP. But there is no tools. In fact, we don't want to provide a unified way to launch something which are common. But there is no tool, so we don't, Gazr doesn't integrate any bugs on our software. I don't know if I'm clear, but yes.
How did you roll out these specifications at the company level? Was it in decision top-down, and you just ask all the projects maintainers to use this spec, or did they do it on purpose, or because they wanted, or you shared the info? How did it spread?
In fact, the new architecture started in our team. So in fact, we built the masterpieces of the new architecture in our team, and when we roll out the new architecture to the public, the other teams at Dailymotion join the new adventure. In fact, but it was a prerequisite for them to integrate the new architecture. So it's not a decision which come from the top, but it's a requirement to put new services in the new into that new architecture. In fact, but we don't implement. We didn't implement Gazr on the legacy code. Only on new projects.
My question is more about introducing new technologies. How do you drive the introduction of new technologies or using a different tool for the same languages? Is it total freedom, and so you introduced Gazr, or do you try to keep only focus on it?
For production use, we are using Helm with Kubernetes, but it's not directly related to Gazr. In fact, Gazr is more focused on the development part and also on the continuous integration part. But we don't use the development configuration in production, as you can imagine. But yes, for the production side, we have a specific configuration and on other tools.
In fact, my question was more about how do you drive in the teams the choice of introducing or not a new technology. For example, in my daily work at Doctolib, we recently introduced a new language. A few months after that, we just take a look back and said that, oh, we could have used our main languages as well, and decided to go back to keep focus on have less technologies in our stack.
It's pretty difficult because we decided to move the majority of our code base to Python, but for specific use case, we let the teams by themselves choose the good technology to solve a specific problematic. For example, if there are performance issues, they can choose another technology than Python to solve that problematics. But it's not. It's really difficult because we have 3 offices. One in USA, in other in France, and our team is really the choice is led to the team directly, so they can choose whatever they want, and sometimes it brings some issues, but we don't find a best solution for that problematic.
Thank you.